bottom line,
Yep.
what percentage of time should the average sales manager spend coaching their people?
In fear of people yelling at the at what they're watching right now, I believe it should be between 60 to 70%.
Welcome back to the Talking Sales series, and I have Luigi with me again. G'day, Luigi.
Mate, g'day, John. Thanks for having me back again.
Oh, I'm loving these discussions, Luigi. You're a great subject to have on an interview, and we're having some great discussions. So the next one I wanted to talk about was sales management and the whole area of coaching. You know, Tony Hughes says that sales management's the weakest link in the revenue chain.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably right in a lot of organisations. It's where if we get the sales management behaving the way they need to, it would probably turn most organisations around quite dramatically.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Look, I'd have to absolutely agree. And I see, because when I'm in the front line, when I'm in with my clients and I'm looking at the amount of time that sales managers are spending with their people, it's probably less than 20%.
20%?
Yeah, 20, maybe 30.
You're talking about a guy that with a team of salespeople and managing,
Absolutely.
guy or girl, team of salespeople, managing that salespeople, trying to get the results, and that's their job. And you're saying they're only spending 20% of their time with their people? They're
burdened with reports or internal meetings. There's a whole range of things. And I think some of it's quite reactive. And this is where my view, I've seen, like, if as a sales leader, I think we've got to separate the two. You've got, your sales leader, your strategic leader, that's looking at channels, growth, a whole range of things.
And reporting to the sales managers.
Correct. And then you've got the sales manager, tactically, they're responsible to move that dial. Their biggest impact is helping their people to move that dial. Not, I've seen it all. Managers will get in there, get sales done for their people. But for me, that's not leading.
No.
Because that's a short-term solution. I've got to get that deal across the line to get my number. For me, real coaching is about empowering, developing, and building capability in your sales force to grow sustainably, right?
And I think that word sustainable is absolutely critical. It is building sustainability within your machine to get sustainable growth. Right?
Absolutely.
But you could walk away after you've done a job for a year or two, and it should run on its own for a while.
You can make yourself, a really good mentor of mine who's works for a large company called News Corporation keeps talking about, my job is to make myself redundant, is to build a capability with my team so that I'm not needed and I can work on other projects.
It's a very healthy attitude, right? Isn't it?
Absolutely. It's all about continuing to bring up, empower, let them make mistakes, and coach and mentor them through. However, when we think about the sales team, when we think about the role of that sales manager, we go, pipeline reviews, one-on-ones, live coaching, post-call coaching. There's key functions that should happen on a daily basis. And when we don't focus our attention on that, habits can come in. Bad habits can come in. We skip deals. We might not do the discovery right, but because our leader hasn't sat down with us and challenged us and held us accountable and gone, well, hang on, we've progressed that, but where's the discovery analysis? Why hasn't that gone back to the customer? Why hasn't the customer confirmed the need before moving to the next step? If those conversations aren't being held at a tactical level, it's just like, our kids, right? My kids, if I say you need to do stuff, when I'm there, when I'm working with them, things get done. But they'll always try to find the shortcut, right? Salespeople are the same. I was like that. I'm still like that. Always try to look for that shortcut. And this is where I think as the business, leaders of those sales managers, their responsibility should be to strip out as much what I call non-revenue generating activities. So reporting, why are they inundated with all these reports from CRM? There's a couple of key metrics that are important for them to shift the dial that day. Hence the term sales enablement's coming in to really remove those, non-revenue activities. Reporting, recruiting. Yes, sales leaders should be part of recruiting, but that's a skill in itself, right? And so there's all these ancillary functions that we're asking sales managers to perform on a daily basis, which is removing their ability to have the greatest impact of all, that's working with their team members.
The other thing I put on the table, you mentioned a number of times when they're in front of the salespeople, like a pipeline review meeting or whatever. So many sales managers don't treat that as a coaching opportunity.
Absolutely, and that's a coaching opportunity. And they also do it as groups And I'm like, well, I remember being a salesperson sitting there for 3 hours going, why do I have to listen about John's deal?
Yeah.
Right? I only care about mine. So it's about being considered in going, how do I protect my team's time? And how do I use that pipeline opportunity? Instead of drilling him as why the opportunity is where it's at, is helping him consider where it's at. How does it happen? Through great questioning.
And in doing so, you're going to positively impact their behaviour when they're in front of the customer. Because if you're in there saying, how big's the deal and when we're going to close it, the behaviour of the customer is going to be, I'm trying to find out how big the deal is and when they're going to close it. And that's not good customer-centric behaviour. So coaching gets the right behaviour happening in front of the customer and with the right process to follow.
Absolutely. And we've got to, and again, just like the power of questions in the sales process, the power of questions when coaching. For me, coaching is not about somebody telling me what I need to do differently. Somebody's about helping me uncover what I need to do differently or what I am doing well. Because we don't look at the positives from a sales perspective. We said this didn't work. Okay, well, tell me what went well. What could you do differently next time? This is what I saw you do well. You know, there's a framework in which we follow. And again, I keep referring back to it. Dale Carnegie spoke about it in his book. In all of his writings, he speaks about lead with the positive. Don't lead with the negative. Nobody wants to be told what they're doing wrong. Help me understand what I could do differently. Help me understand. Great coaching is when we realize I've had that aha moment. I had that penny drop moment, right? And so again, I cannot, as a sales manager, devote my time to get better at coaching if I'm spending 70% of my time on other activities.
Yeah, there's not a lot of difference between a good manager to salesperson coaching session to a salesperson to customer conversation.
Absolutely. You know,
and you've talked about the questions, bringing insight to the table through the question. You're not telling them.
No.
You're getting them to draw their own conclusions and learning from the activity. If you tell them, go do this, they're not going to learn from it.
And there's a great book from Deb Calvert called Stop Selling, Start Leading.
Yep.
Right? Those concepts can be used in a leadership role and in the selling role. Why? Because they both apply. It's exactly the same formula. If I lead, for example, if I coach, I'm going to help you move down the process of development, customer and sales professional. And again, this is where I see every conversation we have as sales leaders or sales managers with our people is a coaching conversation. We can turn everything into a coaching conversation.
Okay, bottom line.
Yep.
What percentage of time should the average sales manager spend coaching their people?
In fear of people yelling at at what they're watching right now, I believe it should be between 60 to 70%.
60 to 70%.
As a sales manager, my job should be to be spending majority of my time in a coaching. And when I say coaching, again, one-on-one, huddles, starter shift huddles, pipeline reviews, team meetings, in-field, side-by-side coaching. Like, I've got to be out there.
But all of those engagements with your people have got to be focused on coaching, not telling.
Correct. I've got to know, I've got my competency. I need to know where my people are at. I need to intrinsically know each team member's, goals, desires. Because the way I coach you is different to the way I coach Johnny down the road. Because you've got different motivations.
Okay, let's close this conversation.
Sorry,
I put the question out there to all the listeners, particularly the sales managers out there. Luigi's just said it should be 60% to 70% of your time where you're coaching your people, either in teams or individually. And it's not holding a meeting to tell them something, it's coaching within the meeting. 60 to 70% of your time. A lot of the sales managers I know struggle, as you said earlier, to get 20 or 25% of their time in front of their salespeople, coaching them. That's a massive challenge. There's the challenge for you. Hey, when we publish this, come back with a conversation. Talk about how you are either struggling or how you go about the coaching, and let's discuss those percentage figures as to whether they're real. Can we get 60 or 70%? And the challenge I'd put out there, and I think Luigi agree, if you do get 60 or 70%, it's amazing what your team are going to achieve over the next 12 months.
I'm looking forward to getting that feedback. People might hate me.
Nobody will hate you, Luigi. They might question you, they might argue with you. They're not going to hate you. We all love Luigi. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Luigi. These have been great discussions.
Thanks, John.